I'm defining a minor.
So they give your customers, I just want to make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And I mean, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information. Is there anything more personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company?
It
doesn't make me feel any better.
It's a large pharma.
In 2006, Anne Wojcicki had a vision. What if ordinary people could understand their own DNA? What if you could spit in a tube and unlock the secrets of your ancestry, your health risks, your very identity? 23andMe, named for the 23 pairs of chromosomes that make us who we are. Wojcicki wasn't just any entrepreneur. She was married to Sergey Brin, one of the co-founders of Google. And Brin's money helped fund her dream.
Wojcicki continued to build up high-profile backers, hosting spit parties for celebrities and investors.
The pitch was simple. For just $99, down from an original price of $999, you could mail in your saliva and learn where your ancestors came from. Find long-lost relatives. Even discover if you carry genes for certain diseases. In 2008, Time magazine named the 23andMe test kit their invention of the year. Celebrities endorsed it. Families gifted it. By 2015, after FDA approval, sales exploded.
Sales boomed. In the years following its FDA approval, the number of customers that had been tested grew to almost 8 million.
But behind the heartwarming stories of reunited families, 23andMe was building something else entirely. There was always another business. One most customers never fully understood.
Patrick Chung, a 23andMe board member, he told Fast Company this: "The long game here is not to make money selling kits, although the kits are essential to get base-level data. Once you have the data, the company does actually become the Google of personalized healthcare. Just like Google doesn't actually care that much about helping you build a time machine or how to teach a penguin to fly or whatever weird things you're searching, 23andMe doesn't seem to care about telling you who your great-great-great-grandmother is either."
The Google of personalized healthcare. Let that sink in. When you signed up for 23andMe, buried in the terms of service was an opt-in for research. Over 80% of customers click yes, most without fully understanding what they were agreeing to. Your genetic data could be shared with pharmaceutical companies, used to develop drugs, analyzed in ways you'd never know about. Then in 2018, something happened that made Americans start asking uncomfortable questions. Police caught the Golden State Killer, using DNA from a genealogy database to identify a suspect through his relatives.
And by 2019, 23andMe's sales had slowed.
My hypothesis is that you have some of the effect from, Facebook, people concerned about privacy. You had Golden State Killer, and so people paused.
People paused. But Anne Wojcicki was ready with reassurance.
What we really want to do is allow you to have choice about how your data is being used.
There was another problem too, a fundamental flaw in the business model. You only need to take a DNA test once. Unlike a subscription service, unlike something you'd buy again and again, once you knew your ancestry, you were done. 23andMe tried everything. A subscription tier called 23andMe Plus, a push into drug development. But it wasn't enough. In 2021, 23andMe made a bold move. They went public through a SPAC deal with Richard Branson's Virgin Group. The stock hit $353. The company was valued at $6 billion. Anne Wojcicki became a self-made billionaire.
Really at a point in time where I'm ready to, explode. Like, there's huge opportunities on therapeutics and huge opportunities for our consumer business.
Then came October 2023. A hacker going by the name Golem announced they had stolen personal data from 23andMe. Not hundreds of users, not thousands. 6.9 million people, half of the entire customer base. The attack method was almost embarrassingly simple. Credential stuffing, using passwords stolen from other breaches to break into 23andMe accounts. But here's what made it catastrophic. 23andMe had a feature called DNA Relatives. It matched you with your genetic family members. So when hackers broke into one account, they could see the data of everyone connected to that person. The hackers didn't just steal randomly. They specifically targeted Ashkenazi Jewish users and Chinese users. The data went up for sale on the dark web, $1 to $10 per person.
We've always said there's the theoretical possibility of risks, but we do everything we can to make sure that we're ensuring the privacy and the protection of people's data.
23andMe settled for $30 million. After the breach, the collapse accelerated. The stock price that once hit $353, by March 2025, it had fallen to $1.27. NASDAQ warned, get your stock back above $1 or be delisted. Anne Wojcicki started cutting. Half the development team gone.
A smaller, more focused therapeutics organization allows us to reduce our cash burn and provides the overall business with a longer cash runway.
Corporate speak for, we're running out of money. On March 23, 2025, the inevitable happened. 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Anne Wojcicki resigned as CEO, and 15 million Americans' most personal data, the genetic code that makes them who they are, became an asset to be auctioned. In June 2025, the interim CEO of 23andMe was called before the United States Senate. What followed was one of the most brutal congressional interrogations in recent memory.
And your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
Not real.
not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button that says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you have requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, etc., etc. You have their name, you have their date of birth, you have their sex, and now you're going to sell it. Here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them, we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them. Have you not?
28 state attorneys general sued to block the sale. But in the end, on June 30th, 2025, a bankruptcy judge approved the deal. The buyer? A non-profit called TTAM Research Institute. Its leader? Anne Wojcicki. For $305 million, down from a $6 billion valuation, Anne Wojcicki effectively bought back her own company. and all 15 million customers' DNA came with it. What does 23andMe teach us? That consent in tech is often an illusion. That the most personal data imaginable can become just another asset in bankruptcy court. That 15 million Americans gave away their genetic code, trusting promises that turned out to be, in the words of one senator, lies.
I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public. Quite frankly, Mr. Salsavage, what you're doing here has all kinds of implications.
From $6 billion to $305 million. From Invention of the Year to bankruptcy. From promises of your data, your choice, to trust us, it'll be fine. This was the rise and fall of 23andMe. If you want to see more stories like this, subscribe to The Decline Report. We investigate the companies that promised the world and delivered something very different. Until next time.